Then I start. Well, thank you all for coming to my session. I didn't expect there would be more than 10 people here anymore, but I see the room has at least 25 or 30 people, so great to see you all here. My name is Karsten Frohwein, Cornpress, Germany, Hamburg, and I want to talk to you about xhprof and Drupal and what to do with this. This session is about, well, black magic and voodoo, because there are no real there's no real data you can acquire with this. You can only guess why your system is running slowly and what's the problem. But I think with those tools, you can have a good guess how your system is running. So it's always worth knowing how to use them and get a glimpse what's going on in my system. xhprof history. Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff written here. You can find this in the PHP manual. It's collecting data from all your functions, blah, blah, blah. Please read this on your own. Point about xhprof is that it's quite old. Oh, thank you. It is written by Facebook, and it collects data of every function that is called during a PHP run, and the memory peaks, and how long how long it took, how long the time was, how long PHP stayed inside of this function, how long the time was. So it's something like a micro time start and a micro time end, and then just doing subtraction and converting this to seconds, and then you see the runtime. This is more precise, and this is at runtime level down in the C code, and gives you a lot of information. Historic is a bit problematic because I never used xhprof before because I thought that it was abandoned. It has very, very few updates to the projects, and I really think it's basically abandoned, but still it's more precise than any alternatives. So the alternative I did use, well, let's say 2 years ago, for about 2 years, was xdebug, because xdebug has a profiling function together with cache grind or web grind. You can achieve basically the same data, but it's more complicated to interpret than xhprof and the devel module, and that's the whole point about using xhprof and Drupal, is integrating xhprof, and though you can get those reports very easily, while xdebug collects some data, and then you have to load the data in the IK cache grind, and then you have some funny, colorful thingies there, and, well, yeah, complicated. It's worth, otherwise, it's really worth taking a look at it, and they are still enhancing it. And I just before this session did take a look at the IK cache grind source code page, and they are even improving there. So, well, but for Drupal, we choose to use xhprof, and I think it's wise currently to use it, but the alternative, it would be there. So the installation. Okay, you're devs, I expect. So normally my question here, normally my expectation here is you can't build modules. You can't build modules with your Linux, Windows, or your Mac, I don't know. This, of course, is for Ubuntu. Everybody can build a module, so I won't show this on the command line. Who wants to see this on the command line? Nobody? Okay, then can you step over this. Basically, most important thing is if you Google for xhprof, there's a Git repository, and I think, as its name's based Facebook, this is a real repository from the Facebook guys. Just clone this and build this on your own. Or you could do this by Peckle, but I think the Peckle extension is much, much older than the stuff you can get on Facebook. There are even 5 pull requests, month old. I'm not sure how you can get live back to such a project. If you're a C guru or C++, I didn't even know exactly what is written in. Maybe you could join the project. Would be worth taking a look at it. But yeah, just clone it, build it, and that's it. Then, of course, add it as you would add any PHP component in extra ini file, or if you're in a strange system, you could add this to the end of your whole PHP ini, and add this extension xhprof SO, and then output the xhprof data to some dir. You could put this into the temp directory, because the data of one run is in the size some megabytes as far as I remember, and it's basically worthless after the run. You want to analyze the data once, but you don't want to analyze data you collected 3 weeks ago. So you have to think about a temp in Ubuntu as a RAM disk, so it's lost after a reboot. So if you just want to profile something, it's wise to use temp because it's then gone automatically. If you want to collect this, please set this to a stable directory on your hard disk. As far as I know, there are no other configuration options, and that's it. Oh yeah, and you have to install this GraphWiz thingy. It's a library to print those fancy graphs we will take a look at in just a few moments. Then you can, with this command, see if xhprof is currently really running on your server. Quite easy. Yeah, then this is something rather important for the devel setup. You have to create a virtual host and with the Apache and point to the xhprof HTML folder. xhprof contains an PHP, is it backend or frontend, to display its data, and you have to put it on your local host with xhprof.local or something, whatever you like as a domain name source, and then you can easily use this together with devel to display your data. Okay, this is configuration. I will show this live in a few moments. In devel itself, you have two settings to do. One is pointing to the PHP files because devel has to include some xhprof files just to say now start profiling and stop profiling. This will be automatically done by the module, and as I said before, you have to point it to xhprof local because it will create a an URL together with a I think NV5 hash or something, so you can see the result of the profiling. And that's it. This is of course very quick because I don't have to show you how to build the stuff on the shell. So still, let's open a shell and do some drush magic. I just kill my stage, yes. This should take around 14 seconds, so maybe some singing or something. I want to first take a look at the vanilla Drupal with basically nothing installed than the standard profile, because this is quite interesting because we will immediately see that in the profile there's some stuff marked as yellow and red because it's it's consuming all of the runtime and all of the memory we have. Of course, this doesn't necessarily mean your Drupal is running slow or there's anything going wrong, but if you're taking a look at those profiles, you don't have to be afraid of stuff that is red or yellow because this is just what you need from your Drupal to do, what you want from your Drupal to do. Of course, you can think about optimizing there, but there are some situations that is, come on, 14 seconds the last time I did this. Well, then I can switch browser windows because it's not evil that PHP is consuming time and memory because we are wanting the thing to do. Now I should more or less mirror my monitor, otherwise it will be painful. Yeah, easier. Interesting. Yeah, but I tried this a lot of times, and I think it's just because the user can't drop the table. Let's see if this works. Oh. Seems to run. Now I'm just activating the devel module. You probably all know. And I activate devel generate because this will be fun in a few moments. So again, xhprof is running as PHP extension. Now I can go into the devel settings, activate xhprof, then I just point xhprof directory. I always let this run below server www xhprof because it's easier for me to find it, and the virtual host is pointing to a folder below that. So this is where the PHP core API files reside, and this is my virtual host of the xhprof HTML folder. Nothing more to do. I always display paramount memory usage. This is data xhprof is collecting as well, but in this case it's just quicker to show. See here, immediately I get the normal devel output. This is the normal stuff, and now I have here an xhprof output link. I'm connecting to this. You see it's going to the index PHP, run and stuff. Especially slow now, great. Why did I test this before? Oh, great. Okay, so our first report, it's run for FDDCA and so on. So they are always hashed. I think this is no, this is not 32. Maybe this is a CRC hash or something, but who cares? So those are the important measures. The wall time, in this case wall means, I think this is Facebook term, but this means all functions that did take 122 microseconds. The include CPU time is 120 seconds. Don't ask me where those 2 microseconds are gone to. Maybe this is waiting for CPU or something. We use 6 megabyte. At peak we use 6.8 megabyte of RAM from our server, and we did call about 11,000 functions. And then we get this incredible big list below here. It will only list the first 100 calls. If you press on display all, of course, all 11,000 calls, or at least the sum of all 11,000 calls will be displayed. So you have here a lot of different things that we get told, and the first thing is we got a function name. So the main, this is the kick-in for our PHP of all. Of course, there's no main class or something in PHP, but of course inside of PHP is a main class. This, of course, took 122.086 microseconds. So here we can find the data again. This is just the run of our normal PHP. Then, as Drupal is going, we have a menu execute active handler, deliver page, HTML page, stuff. So what can we do with this? Here we got a lot of stuff about the memory, but this is rather uninteresting because it doesn't tell you anything. You could, for example, sort by calls. And then we see the most called function is isArray, and it is called 838 times. This is 7.4% of the calls. This doesn't tell you anything. So the most important thing is the exclusive wall time. This means what did this function in itself take, for example. And here again we can see this is 965 microseconds, and this is rather important. This means that 838 calls of isArray did only time to execute in 965, no, this is not microseconds. What's below microseconds in English? 1,000. This is, of course, divided by 1,000 again. So this is 0.8% of the whole runtime of the script. This means the function that is called the most is just one of the least time-consuming function. So by this you can see that calls isn't necessary and measurement you should use, but exclusive wall time is. So now if we now do sort this by exclusive wall time, we can see that 5% of all processing time is put into PDO statement execute, and this means the database is the bottleneck. Who could get guessed? We do only 30 calls to the database, but from all functions we lose 5% of the whole time, 5% of the whole time in our script to the database calls. This could mean we should decrease the number of calls we do to the database, do different caching mechanisms, whatever. So you really can see why this is the worst function in our system. But again, we want those 30 calls. We can't speed this up. Maybe we can buy a better server or something. So again, those numbers you see here are just normal Drupal execution. And this is a standard Drupal execute. Drupal static, for example, with 341 calls is very consuming. I had a lot of discussions with Eine Dalivina about why was this done, and I still do not really understand why we do this Drupal static thing. The Drupal static thing is always slowing down, but in the end we have a lot of advantages by this on the programming side, and Drupal static is a nice thing to do. Yeah, we had a lot of theming functions, so we could go through all of this. The point about this, and what would be more interesting, and I would have to produce a bug, which I didn't do before, sorry for that. If you see here my evil function that is consuming 50% of all processing time, you can immediately guess what is slow inside of your system. The one thing that's always good for some laughs at the first time is the full call graph, and then this whole process is much more interesting than the pure numbers, because now we can see this incredible big thing here, and voila, you have 11,000 function calls. If you take a look at the entry, for example, here's the menu execute active handler, Drupal delivering page, Drupal delivering HTML page. We can look in below. There's one run of theme, render theme, run init, blah, blah, blah. Theme form, there's a second pass through theming functions. Filter accesses admin, for example, is called a lot of times from there. Filter, filter, filter. And somewhere here, I think there should be the theming output. This is a really impressive and important part, and this is why you installed this graph thingy before. Here you can see the yellow brick road through your Drupal, and this means that your Drupal is taking the most time of it in the theming layer. Hey, this is something what we want. So again, this is a vanilla Drupal. We did just install this. This is just running as supposed. And the round red block is the PDO statement execute. Before this, you will see all those dbtng processing functions doing, and in the end, the PDO statement will be called. This is red. Yeah, this is the most time-consuming thing. If you would run the Drupal as a custom, as just a visitor with full cache active, this would be very slim. Of course, there would be some red function and some yellow path again, but of course there wouldn't be some theme stuff because this is all in your side of your cache. And well, you would immediately see that Drupal for visitors running very, very fast. This white cloud around here, it's not really interesting because you can immediately see only the yellow parts are very consuming. Maybe you lose 10 or 20% of processing of the whole site, of the whole page call inside here. So all this stuff, let's look in, process attach, module invoke. There are so many things Drupal is doing for us, but they are not very time or power consuming. So let's go on from this. No. Please go back. There it is. So this is rather uninteresting. This is just a standard Drupal. If you want to optimize here, I mean, all those guys are here and would be happy if you want to optimize here, but there are not very much things to do. This is, if you want to optimize here, you would question API choices we did for Drupal to make our lives easier. Yeah. So the only point optimizing here would be, yeah, you do really freaky stuff I'm not capable of, or you just say, hey, we need some cache here, or avoid some calls by fancy stuff, but otherwise you can't do anything wise here. So let's go back. Oh, yeah, the, one magic thing to show. I am again sorting by exclusive wall time. Now we can see, as we can click here, what was calling PDO statement execute. This is a stack trace you can basically make through the whole system, and it's quite important. And you can do a call graph just for the step you are in. This is quite funky because maybe not for PDO statement execute, maybe for Drupal static, because you now can see form set error, for example, is 50 calls. Drupal HTML ID is 72 calls. And then you can go in here, see again the parent function is form get error, the child function is Drupal static, and by this you can browse through your code, see form set class, and then in the end you will see that well, it will set up the different error messages for the different FAPI kinds in here and uses a statical array to call them. Then you can see a smaller call graph, and well, you can very good get an impression here what is calling what in one system run. So don't be afraid of just clicking inside and doing steps by steps. For example, if we go on a bit, we can see let's take an example from me. For example, I did a lot of views, and I'm always fighting with views performance. So in the first time we did use just a lot of views. Then we did see that a lot of views are just not maintainable. Then we did fewer views with more displays. Then I saw with my xh profiling that, for example, unpack option of views is a pain in the ass, and it was called 1,000 times. I had a lot of discussions about this, and in the end we did some more tricky views with more arguments handling. So we do need less. Views at all. So fewer displays, fewer views, and then in the end unpack options again was handleable. So this profiling by me didn't result in direct code optimization, but in site building optimization, because we could see what was running through. So do click into this, because if you just see unpack options, you have no impressions where unpack options is coming from. If you click inside you sometime and step up, you will see this is coming from a views object, and then you can guess, oh, I fucked up with views, and I can speed up my site somehow here, maybe bug the developers about this, or improve my site building. Now we go back to this. Let's go to the home page. Again, our homepage now has no content, is running in 123 milliseconds. As before, this is not very interesting. If we put up some content, vocabularies, terms, contents with devel generate, which is quite easy. I'm boring. This is generating some stuff for us, and then we go get 50 pages. Oh, no. I want some alias, and I want some comments. This even has to be batched. Of course, all those batch runs now will provide a profile to your profiles or folder. Again, use the temp folder, or please make sure to purge your profiles from time to time, or you will have gigabytes of profiles in no time. Everything is calling. If you use private images, for examples, you will get immediately some profiles to the folder, which is rather stupid. Okay, see, now we got all this. Before it was 100 milliseconds, we now are at 350 milliseconds. I expect that this will drop because we can do some caching, yeah, again, but still our site did slow by 150 milliseconds, but just because there are some terms and some content. Now look at that profile, this should be more interesting. Again, this doesn't tell us anything. The first thing I always do is exclusive wall time. So again, who are 73 calls to some evil PDO statements. Now we can look inside. We got a database statement. There's the no, that is nothing interesting. A string. Cool. Okay. No, I can't guess. Let's run this again. Oh, this bugs me. One more time, please. Interesting, did change a lot. What I wanted to point to is that Drupal execute now should do a lot of cache calls. It's interesting that Drupal alter now is consuming 4.4% of our performance in this system. So at least you can see that there were a lot of changes now because just we have content. For example, URL wasn't called before. Now we got all this read all about something calls, and we got 122 items on the page that need an URL resolved. We now load a lot of entities. We got some more T checks, even more check plain stuff. But it's interesting that Drupal alter now is, see, maybe look at the call graph. Oh, a lot of stuff is calling Drupal alter. Maybe you take a look at this, and again it's URL. See, we now load 122 items on the page. 122 calls to Drupal alter because 122 URLs are called. This is, now you can really guess what's going on in your system here. Also this evil red function, no, again, the colors are an indication, not that this function is evil. But there's a lot of consumption now in this function just because we are loading a lot of things, and the evil hook system and the more evil alteration system of Drupal will now consume all our power. And here's proof. Don't use Drupal. It's getting your alterations and they're slowing down your system. No, of course not. This is a chance. We have to implement very, very many fancy things, but here you have the proof that this comes with a cost. If you look at the full call graph, just want to go some step back up. Now the full call graph, this will get bigger and bigger. Yeah. Is it loading? Yes. Yeah? See, now our yellow brick road, it changed a lot. Before it was basically going down, now it's more like an S. Theme, Drupal render, Drupal render, Drupal render. Again here, there's a big bottleneck with the theming system. Everything is running through the same theming function. Who could have guessed this? Because we are now rendering nodes on the home page and then the special node display again. Of course, this goes through the same theme part. There are all our iterations. Is this pointing? No, this is not pointing. Yeah, then it's looking up the path, and in the end we got some statements to execute. What I can't show you, for example, if you have a lot of fields on a page and you're using views, and views is doing a full entity load, which is basically now doing on every time, you will see that the most evil bottleneck of Drupal now is a field system with a lot of nodes, because it's not cached in core. Yeah. And then you can see loads of calls to all those field things, and Drupal is rendering and rendering and rendering, and you can easily see this in a big yellow part like this. I can only guess what is now here being rendered. Yeah, blocks and nodes. Theme links, yeah, of course, okay, this is not about fields, but if you have lots of fields, you will immediately see, hey, the entity load is taking all the time. Please always use the entity cache module, yeah, by, oh, who did make it? I currently forgot, but great guy, if I remember his name. This module is very, very useful because it immediately caches nodes, users, and taxonomy terms as a whole object. And you can just let your profiler run before entity cache and after entity cache, and before you will see there's a big tree of field loading and field interpretation, something like this, and after this is just, it's directly you loading the object. Now, let's show some fun. This is a project as we normally build it. This is a lot of fancy stuff with panels, in-place editor. We would add panels everywhere. There are some views on the page, and so on and so on. This is a database thing, and you can see the execution time is 409 milliseconds. So this is again 100 milliseconds more. I can only say, for my impression, Drupal is running fast as hell, because there are so many more calls now, and it only takes, or PHP, don't know if you can say it's PHP or Drupal, but there are so many more things to do. The memory consumption, oh, a word about memory consumption, forget about it. You will never ever really guess what PHP is doing with your memory, yeah? Only if you have a big file, now load file with 1 GB of data and directly into the RAM, you can crash PHP with it, and you can see with a profiler where the memory is going. Otherwise, if you try to profile the memory usage, you will probably see all those includes here and there. The Drupal run is very big, and there are two things that are really consuming the memory. It's the files and it's the translation data, and the rest isn't that much to care about. I think this can only go away with some lazy loading class system we probably get with Drupal 8, with Drupal 7, 6, and yeah, I think in 5 isn't any different, except 5 is smaller at all. Smaller with everything there, you will have always a lot of memory consumption. More modules equals to more memory consumption, and you can't get a guess where the memory is going with PHP, because you can only see the peak level. There's nothing like exactly this takes that much of memory. So let's look into this. Now we got 3 times of function calls with this thing. Oops, there I wanted to click. With this thing, immediately we see unserialized is getting a lot of power, 5.5%. This means immediately for me, because I'm used to profile this, at the end I want to just say some common things about profile, but I know what's happening here. Unserialized is called by the cache system, and so you have to unserialize a lot of data that's coming from the database. This is why now unserialized is one of the top consuming functions. PDO execute, as always, Drupal static with 1,000 calls. Yeah, if it's better to do statics like this, it is, I don't care. The local system now is consuming 2.5%, and yeah, again, our alterations, T, and so on and so on. This is quite interesting if you dig inside, but what you can read from this is you really can't optimize your system with just one simple thing. you can load less and then everything will go away. But there's not an evil function that will consume all your power. You can't just say, hey, I optimized this function and I got 20% more of performance. Drupal isn't that bad. No, for none of the functions we use isn't that bad. So this tree is a special fun because it's incredibly big now. Yay. Of course, you immediately go into all those panels things. Panels, 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 views, 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 and so on and so on. So basically everything is here. Down to here isn't core page building anymore, but it is panels. No, panels is not evil. No, panels is not that power consuming because panels gives you the chance to have a cache system in place and every pane can be cached. You should use this just like you would do this easy thing in Drupal 8. You can say this is cached, this and not this and this, and you can even write your own cache wrappers. Yes, this is a development task, but this is a development conference, so it's much more easier to say this here. So in my opinion, panels is the only thing you can use to go around a big execution tree like this, because you can cut it off somewhere and let some branches go to nothing. So before I come to Q&A, just a few more things. I don't have any slides about this, sorry, but of course you can use xhprof just to wrap around your own functions. This again is easy as microtime start, microtime end. Please use Google or look into documentation at php.net. So you just do a function call for please now start profiling, put the profile here and use this name or prefix and this. I don't remember what I did profile with this. I think that was about images and I just put some strings for xhprof in there and I immediately could see really why it was slow at this place. So even if you have the whole profiling of the page easily done by devel, it could be wise just to profile your source code inside of your module. Just it's very, very easy. Please look at the documentation. Otherwise, this is only a guess of what is going on with your system. You can't really get absolutely pure, exact data about what is going on, especially not for memory. And you can see if you optimize here and there, you can only enhance 4%, 2% of your system's performance. So you have to think in a more global scale, and this is where those graphics come in. You really have to see it's just like a bush or a tree out there. You cut off a branch and immediately lose everything below there, and suddenly the sun shines again and down to your home. And you really have to think, where can I cut off a lot of power? Less loading is always better for performance in the back end as in the front end. Less images to load is a better performing site, even if you use a content delivery networks or something. So just look at this tree. Here again, it's problematic because this run is directly through panels and views. Of course, you can say, then I can do less in this run, in this main run, because I don't load 10 panel panes, but only 2 or something. Just think about it. I can't give you a best way to do this. But this is rather important. Before you should ship out your system or give it to your customer, please just one time install the devel module, let xhprof run about it, and just see what you're doing, especially if you're doing custom modules, and then you might see, for us, for example, we were using views instead of entity field queries at some place, and views just, again, did all this loading stuff and just spent a lot of time in views function, and entity field query was more or less, this is the data I need, so thank you, and I can progress with my function. So again, views wasn't evil, and it was a good idea to use it as a subsystem, but in the end it was much more better for performance just to use an entity field query, especially for those easy queries we are doing there. So this is something you can get with profiling, and again, this is voodoo and black magic. You have to spend time with this. I spent years just looking at this stuff, and well, every project will get at least 1 or 2 days of profiling by me, just because I'm curious and not because the customer wants. So don't expect to get any fast results. Just again and again take a look at those trees. Just order by how many functions are called. Aha, doesn't make sense to me. What's the execution time of all those functions? What the real sum of functions? Where is this really coming from? Should I use this? Should I use this? That. But you can get a good expression by xhprof. And maybe use xdebug for profiling, and because it's better, yeah, it's just try and guess. So I hope you did get from this session how to install the thing and how to basically let it run with the devel module. And well, this was my session. Now we're in Q&A. Thank you. Okay, 50 minutes of Q&A, so what do you want to know? Yeah. So.
Hierarchical view of data visualization. So if it's possible to see the same table of resource of usage, not in graphic, but in some hierarchical representation.
Yeah, that's one thing I think cache grind can do. In cache grind you get a lot of more information, especially where at what line you're jumping into something and what line did consume what time, and you can see a hierarchical display. Okay, again, the question was the graph isn't that giving us a lot of information, and this flat list isn't giving a lot of information. So how can I get a hierarchical view? And as far as I know, with the xhprof PHP, you can't get a hierarchical view. Maybe you can, as the display is PHP, you can get in there and change the display. I am doing that? Okay, I don't hope so. Otherwise, that would be a good reason to use, or better said, try xdebug and kcachegrind, because it can provide a lot of more data. But hierarchical, I think the full graph is a better hierarchical impression, because there, as I said before, there isn't one path, one exact path, because the tree immediately spreads up just below one function. So you should always get a more whole impression of everything. And you can get a graph of any function you click in. So if you just want to see the graph of an unserialized, you maybe can see this, and this is more helpful because it only shows a little part of the whole thing. I really like going in here and just get an overview of what might be running there, because yeah, there's so many steps in render, and then this and there, and they are all coming together in one render function, and maybe this immediately is what I need, but in one step down I couldn't see this. So yeah, well, I like those graphs, and the easiest thing to work with them is just having this amazingly big image and just clicking in here and see, aha, it's seam, and you see this is running in here, and there's where the power is lost, for example. Just try it out. I know this is too quick for a presentation what I'm doing, but I can't really tell how to work with this. You have to find your own flow, and yeah, after some month it makes just sense what is written there. So yeah. Okay, more questions?
Does having it enabled, does that slow down the site at all? Does that affect any performance?
Yes, of course. Don't ask me how much. I'd say as it's implemented low level, it's only some %, but you shouldn't use this on a productive system. Maybe you should let this run for a special day or something, and in the end, yeah, in core, that wouldn't be a wise idea. What is this? Yeah, see, because I statically collect all this profiling data, Nautilus is even refusing to load it. Yeah, see, it's loading. There it is. See, now I have 93 gigabytes of data with 2,900 objects, and every object is around 200 to 1 megabyte big. So, well, don't use this on a productive system.
Thank you.
Anymore, everybody happy? Or was I that boring? Yeah, just go into it, look at your systems, just use the profiler. It's really fun to see what you were doing, and if you can find one evil function, you will be very glad and enthusiastic about using it the next time. Mostly Drupal and all contrib modules are running that well that you won't find an evil function. That's a bit frustrating, but you can at least say, hey, I did profiling and I know that my system is running. Okay, so I'm closing this session. Now we're going to the end session. Thanks for the great camp, everything it's doing here.